Emily was a very, very happy child, very normal upbringing, the usual things. She'd enjoy going to school like any other child her age, until she reached the age of 12.
I was getting like kind of ill during year 8. Halfway through I was getting quite sleepy. In the first week of year 9 I fainted and I went straight from school to Blackburn Hospital, and that was the first time they started to think, hey, this might be really quite serious.
They put medication in place and it seemed to be working quite well. She was on that medication, on that treatment for the best part of a year, weren't you? And the only reason that we sort of suspected it might be something else was she was carrying on swelling. So her blood pressure was already very low, so I was getting quite concerned. When we arrived at hospital, they checked her over and said, yes, her heart's packing up. We need to keep her and she has to stay now until her heart becomes available. We were just sort of chatting, talking about different things, and all of a sudden she said, Mum, I feel funny, I don't feel well. And her eyes rolled back in her head, and within seconds the room was full. We got her on the bed and her heart was packing up, basically. It was stopping. She was panicking and she was clutching her chest from the pains that she was having, and she was frightened. And Emily said she just looked up, she'd been clutching her chest and going, Mum, 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 and panicking. And she just stopped and she looked up at me and said, I love you, Mum. I love you both. And she knew what was happening in that moment.
When I found out that she had to have the transplant, I was just like really shocked. I didn't think it'd ever be that bad. I didn't really know what to think because the worst could happen. I was just like praying that it didn't.
For the next 2 or 3 days, she was at death's door, and she was permanently just bleeding from everywhere, and it was hard to see. It was hard to see her that desperately poorly. And it was 2 days later that we finally got the call. She said, we think we found her heart. They came for her at 2:30. We both gave her a big hug, and I told her I love her up to the edge of space and back. And I gave her a big kiss and a love, and she went down to theatre. The phone rang and I picked up the phone immediately, and it was one of the nurses, and she said that she was out of theatre and in recovery. It had gone to plan, and Emily came back, and it was incredible to see her. It was incredible to see her colour. Her cheeks were rosy. They weren't just pink, they were rosy.
I was so relieved when I saw her on Skype afterwards, after the transplant, because it was just like the worst could have happened and it just didn't.
Life now is back to normal. She takes her medication and she does things that her friends do.
I've been doing skiing. It's just really fun. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I feel a lot better myself, because before, every time I got out of breath, I'd check my pulse and sit down and make sure I was alright. But now I can just do whatever I want, and if I get out of breath, I get out of breath.
Everybody should be given that choice, should be given that chance to donate. To bury your organs with you is like taking other people with you, because you could save people with those organs.
You have to tell the people around you as well. It's very important, because even if you're on the list, if your family member says no, they can't go ahead with it. They need permission.
Think about a donor constantly. How can you thank somebody for giving you your daughter's life back? Words just aren't enough. They never will be.